G'day, welcome back to MGuy and welcome to the news roundup for Thursday the 9th of May. So this is a new series of videos in which I look at the stories that I haven't had a chance to do a video on for that particular day, because there are always like 10 or 15 extra stories which I'd like to get through but can't, so I'm compressing them all into this little news round. All the links are in the description so you can go away and read them at your leisure. I hope you enjoy. Drop a comment down below, let me know what you think. So first up today, a story from the Daily Express in the UK, how electric cars could be used against UK in major threat to national security. In recent months, researchers have warned that electric cars could be hacked in the future and that it could be possible to control the cars remotely. I've done a couple of videos on cybersecurity risks of EVs in the past. Check out my back catalogue for those, but this is a problem that's not going away. A leading security expert has warned how electric cars could be hacked and pose a threat to both drivers and national security. Director of Information Security and Engagement at the National Cybersecurity Alliance, Cliff Steinhauer, revealed there were several risks associated with the growing number of electric cars. Mr. Steinhauer claimed it was possible for the software of some vehicles to be infiltrated and for the entire car to be taken over remotely. He emphasized the need for researchers and manufacturers to remain aware of potential vulnerabilities. In recent years, a growing number of motorists have been switching to electric cars from around the world, including China, whose cars are becoming more attractive because of their range and affordable prices. Can't see any problems with that, can you? Okay, this story from the US on the absolute madness of electric trucks. If you think EV cars are bad enough, EV trucks is that on steroids. New analysis shows just how devastating electric trucks are for business. We cannot expect many companies to make the transition. Converting America's medium and heavy-duty trucks to electric vehicles, EV, in accordance with goals from the Biden administration, would add massive costs to commercial trucking, according to a new analysis released Wednesday. The cost to switch over to light-duty EVs like a transit van would equate to a 5% increase in costs per year, while switching over medium and heavy-duty trucks would add up to 114% in costs per year to already struggling businesses, according to a report from transportation and logistics company Ryder Systems. The Biden administration, in an effort to facilitate a transition to EVs, finalized new emission standards in March that would require a huge number of heavy-duty vehicles to be electric or zero emissions by 2032, and has created a plan to roll out charging infrastructure across the country. This is what happens when you get politicians in power who have no idea about science, engineering, or physics. And they just think this will happen, and it won't. So, Native Americans and sacred grounds and all that is all very important until it comes into conflict with the green agenda. And then suddenly it isn't anymore. Lithium mine being built on sacred ground where Native Americans say they were massacred. Joe Biden wants the US to be a world leader in electric cars, which requires lithium, but is a mine being built on the site of a massacre? It could be a scene from centuries ago. In the Nevada desert, Native Americans are protesting over a mining project they say desecrates sacred land. They are riding to Sentinel Mountain, which their ancestors once used as a lookout in times gone by. Here, they say, more than 30 of their people were massacred by US cavalry in 1865. Today, the land is at the heart of America's electric car revolution and Joe Biden's clean energy policy. Native American tribal members say the mine neglects their interests and offends their history. The route of the Prayer Horse Ride, a journey on horseback through mining-affected communities in northern Nevada, is designed to publicize their objections. The thing about EVs is that the amount of mining required for a single EV battery is like 200 tons of earth. You're going to have to dig up masses of ground to get the raw materials to make EV batteries. They certainly are not environmentally friendly, that's for sure. Maybe a good news story. Republicans are pulling out all the stops to reverse EV adoption. Let's hope so. The Biden administration's efforts to move forward on clean air policies are hitting snags by way of GOP-led legislation and lawsuits designed to hurt electric vehicle progress. Oh, shame. Republican lawmakers are attempting to overturn the twin pillars of the Biden administration's climate platform, tax credits for electric vehicles, and the Environmental Protection Agency's new rules to curb tailpipe emissions. The effort involves new bills introduced by members of Congress, as well as lawsuits filed by state attorneys general, all with the goal of rolling back the minimal progress made by the Biden administration to reduce the share of planet-warming carbon emissions produced by the automotive sector. You see, what they do is they conflate tailpipe emissions and particulates with carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, harmless trace gas, plant food essentially. But then they conflate it with tailpipe particulate and toxic emissions, which under regulations which have been enforced since the 1970s effectively, modern petrol and diesel engines are the cleanest they've ever been. So to conflate CO2 emissions with particulates just muddies the waters here. So I hope the Republicans do push back because the mandates that Biden and his administration are putting on American taxpayers is just insane. So this is an astonishing story, just showing how many Chinese EVs are being stockpiled at European ports. It's quite staggering. Belgium's ports drowning under glut of Chinese electric cars. Some are parked here for a year, sometimes more. Due to China's overcapacity in production, as it aims to capture a quarter of the European electric vehicle market, the ports of Antwerp and Zeebrugge are inundated. You probably need to see it to appreciate the challenges the automobile industry faces in transitioning to electricity. You also need to come here to understand how the Chinese industry's overcapacity has flooded the European market. That morning, as the sun unexpectedly lit up the maze of highways leading to this remote arm of the port of Antwerp, Belgium, a huge cargo ship from the Norwegian company Höegh Autoliners unloaded thousands of cars at one of the terminals of International Car Operators ICO, a subsidiary of the Japanese group Nippon Yusen Kaisha. Alongside Swedish-Norwegian Wallenius Wilhelmsen, it is one of the main operators of the now merged port of Antwerp-Bruges, the world's largest automotive terminal, through which the production of some 40 brands used to transit. But that was before the emergence of their Chinese competitors. At Calais near Antwerp and Zeebrugge on the North Sea coast, huge parking lots can accommodate some 130,000 vehicles, but they now find themselves too cramped. In 2022, 3.4 million vehicles passed through the two ports. Since then, the market has evolved further, challenges have multiplied, and operators are doing their best to resolve vehicle storage issues. So here's an interesting story from London, how scammers are targeting on-street charging systems by putting fake QR codes. Primrose Hill drivers targeted in electric car charge scam. Watch out for fake QR codes at charging points. Scammers are targeting drivers trying to do their bit for the environment with fake signs at electric car charging points. The New Journal can reveal that lampposts across the borough are being checked after stickers sending people to a dodgy website were found covering up the real pay point. Daniel Baxter, 64, uncovered the con while trying to charge his environmentally friendly car near his home in Primrose Hill. "I was pretty alarmed," he said. "It was a very high-quality forgery. Everything was the same apart from the QR code. I felt worried that I could have had my money stolen and that other people could have their money stolen." And there you go. Fake sticker, different QR code. It'll siphon your money away. Here's a good old Aussie story about kangaroos. Major Tesla oversight on Aussie roads sparks warning, keep an eye out. The innovative technology behind Tesla Vision has one major flaw on Australian roads. Conditions on roads around Australia's remote area can be treacherous at the best of times, as motorists contend with potholes, severe weather and wildlife. And while electric vehicles like the Tesla have the help of pioneering technology that can make driving smoother, one EV owner has pointed out a major flaw. It appears that Teslas can't recognise Australia's native wildlife, including kangaroos, as pointed out by one Tesla enthusiast. It comes as the rate of collisions between motor vehicles and kangaroos is on the rise. Just a heads up to Tesla owners who are driving cross-country this long weekend. Tesla Vision does not recognise our national fauna such as our iconic kangaroo, said the man. So please take the usual precautions to slow down and keep an eye out, especially during sundown and sunrise. You can see here a screen grab. Kangaroo not displayed on the screen there, but it does pick up the cyclist So be very careful. Kangaroos are actually really big, and they can do massive damage. But don't swerve to avoid a kangaroo. Whatever you do, if you're going to hit the kangaroo, hit the kangaroo. Don't swerve. That's your recipe for disaster, because you'll skid and roll and do yourself some serious injury. So sacrifice the car, sacrifice the kangaroo, but save your own life. Here's a story about how we're going back to the Stone Age. Wood burners fill Brighton air with some of UK's worst pollution. Brighton has some of the highest levels of toxic air particles in the country, in part because of the spread of wood burners. Despite having elected Britain's first and so far only Green MP and the first Green Council, wood burners appear to have become increasingly popular in Brighton and Hove. And the particles that wood burners release are increasingly being linked to health problems, such as asthma and cancer. Annual figures published last week by the government suggest that particulate pollution is slowly declining across Britain as a whole. But the concentration of particulate matter in the air continues to spike above safe levels in several places across the country, with Brighton and Hove among the worst offenders. See, this is one of the unintended consequences of these mad green policies to get rid of gas, because gas burns so cleanly now. Gas is such a brilliant fuel. It burns so cleanly, it's so efficient. But we can't have gas. That has to be banned too. So therefore people are going back to burning wood, which releases a bunch of toxic chemicals and particulates as part of the combustion process. So here we go, back to the Stone Age. Brilliant. And to finish with, this is my favourite, from that crazy EV fanboy site, The Driven. Who cares if it takes hours to charge an electric vehicle? Yeah, who cares? Absolutely. This is what I call a cope, where they pretend that having a regular gas car is a real inconvenience, that you've got to fill up the thing in 5 minutes, and that having an electric car just solves all those terrible problems of going to a fuel station for 5 minutes. When you drive an ICE, internal combustion engine, gasoline diesel fueled vehicle, you're bound by the location of service stations and tied to the economics of oil prices and global geopolitical energy security concerns. Step behind the wheel of an EV, battery electric vehicle, and suddenly any power point is a Bowser. Yeah, 2 kilowatts, it'll take you about 25 hours to fill your car. While many of the world's electricity grids are still somewhat tied to global coal and gas prices, that's changing fast as they move towards a greater mix of renewables and storage. The thrill of EV ownership. EV owners experience thrilling acceleration, non-polluting, quiet and effortless driving, and substantially lower running costs. But they need to get used to different behaviours when it comes to the vehicle's energy source. There's also a certain thrill the first time you plug your EV in at home and realise that you may never visit a gas station again, except perhaps to check your tyre pressure or use the car wash. Okay, enough, that's enough. This is my favourite paragraph here. Who cares if it takes hours to charge? It's not like you need to hold the charging plug the whole time. You're free to leave it charging while you do whatever you want. The act of charging takes but a few seconds. What? And if you have solar on your roof, you can charge during the day. There's the double thrill of at least partially driving on free sunshine. I don't think I can stand any more thrills from this website. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye for now.